Hey, so this is just a bonus video to the main video that I've uploaded on the Live Overflow main channel. It is about the controversy that YouTube is now banning and deleting hacking educational tutorials. And so I thought it would be kind of interesting to look at a few specific theoretical, fictional YouTube videos and see how various people feel or think about it. I framed the questions as basically a fake or fictional YouTube title for a video, and then you could answer it's ethical, it's unethical, it's neutral, or you have some kind of free text. And I just sent this to a couple of YouTubers and other people just slightly related. I got 14 responses. It's by no means scientific. I didn't really spend much time on thinking about what kind of titles I wanted to include. It's just a kind of random selection that I kind of thought about. And so I want to go now over the results, how I think about them, how kind of I believe YouTube maybe thinks about them, and generally how I see the context around this. And maybe it helps to guide this discussion a little bit. How does good hacking educational videos look like? And is there such a thing as a bad or shitty or unethical hacking YouTube videos? And so let's look at this. So the first question is also related to what I mentioned in the main video, is a Facebook phishing page tutorial video bad? Most people did say that it's kind of unethical. One person said it is ethical. A lot of people also said it's neutral. But phishing is one of the massive problems we have. Google, as a company that needs to protect their customers against phishing, see this as a big problem. The most serious hacks you see in real life are often started with phishing. And yes, phishing is absolutely lame and stupid and shitty, and it's nothing special or secret or crazy or technical or skilled or whatever. But fact is that phishing is a massive problem, and it is used to steal a lot of information, get access to accounts, compromise accounts, and so forth. So I understand that Google and YouTube is very careful with that, and I personally also think such a video is completely misdirected educational. I personally, it makes no sense. I would not make such a video. What if somebody searches for that, how to make a phishing page, I want to do this sounds cool. I, as an educational YouTuber, I feel like my responsibility is it to not show them, oh, here's a step-by-step guide, here, copy and paste, but to redirect their motivation to web development. A web developer who just started with a few basic tutorials will be able to make a phishing page after the first week. Why would you hide the underlying skill that actually underlies the skill here, which is just programming? Why would you hide that from them and shroud it in some kind of step-by-step tutorial if you can just tell them the true skill, the true knowledge, the true secret behind it, which is just learn programming? So that's why I think such a video is just like an kind of a cash grab, just attention seeking, and you know, in the face of it being directly used in kind of this illegal and compromising way of phishing Facebook, I will tell you right away, there will, depending on how many viewers you have, you know, we are talking on YouTube here on thousands and tens of thousands of people that might be able to see it. I'm telling you, there will be many kids that create a Facebook phishing page and try to phish, for example, their girlfriend or their friends, and then to read their, try to get access to their private messages and so forth. That will happen, and you give them direct, you know, solutions for that in that way. I think that elicits, or I guess supports, or might motivate some kind of illegal behavior. That's why I generally think it's more an unethical video to make. Next one. How to program your own rat. With rat, I mean remote access tool or remote access Trojan or whatever. So it's about how to basically make a Trojan, how to make malware. And I specifically made the title to be how to program your own rat. And 2 people said unethical, 7 people said it's completely ethical. Again, a lot of people said neutral, but then you also get a few nuanced responses here with that it's shady, but it depends on how it's framed. Depends on the focus, and then another one is with a clear disclaimer. Now, I think disclaimers are complete bullshit, are complete useless. Every time I see a YouTube video with a disclaimer only for educational purpose, I think it's absolutely bullshit. Doesn't matter at all. Why are you even doing that? What matters is the content of the video. Now, I also agree with that it depends on how it's framed, because here it's about programming, right? The truth about malware and Trojans is that they are just programs. So if you are interested how to do that, just learn programming, okay? The ethical tool is programming, and you could make something illegal or possibly criminal out of it that might be a Trojan that you can use, right? So this video, I think, depending on how it's framed, could be unethical or ethical. Generally, you will see it in contrast to a video just right below that we'll talk about in a moment. I think this is generally more ethical, but you need to be very careful. You need to, for example, if I would make this video and I would want to make this ethical and actually educational, I would obviously explain people that Trojans shouldn't be something that you're doing, but it's essentially just programming. Here are good programming tutorials. Here is how you do networking. Here's how you do sockets. Here's how you design a protocol, things like that. This, in essence, is just a programming tutorial with a little bit of a clickbaity title. The focus should not be on actually using this or how to use it against your friends or whatever. The focus should really just be on the programming part, and then I believe it could be kind of ethical. In stark contrast to that, I believe, is, for example, this here. And this response is quite interesting to me. Only 2 people said unethical, 2 people said ethical, and most people were neutral. And one person clarifying that it depends on how it's being framed. And to me, this is, for example, a prime example of a bullshit video that I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube would delete that. It's not a video I would ever make, because there's 0 value in that. I see 0 educational value in this. You are advertising a tool that is ready-made for a person to just click together a Trojan and send this to people. I'm telling you right now, some script kiddie will look up that tool, will download it, and try to attack their friends and whatever. You know, in the best case, they just say it's a prank, bro, and their friend understands. And in the worst case, they actually, you know, cause some extreme bullying, maybe even blackmailing or whatever this kind of stuff is used for. This is just eliciting bad behavior, showing how to do bad stuff. It's completely unnecessary. Now, if you want to talk about Trojans, the good way to do is how to reverse engineer this. So if you take a sample of this and analyze it and the capabilities, good. Another possible video about this would be, what are the capabilities of a typical Trojan, so that normal people understand what is possible and what is not possible with the Trojan on your laptop. For example, this Trojan doesn't magically like jump over to your phone and also your TV or something like this, right? To understand kind of what the script kiddie capabilities actually are and what they are not. All these kind of things, but all they don't need to explain how to make your own Trojan. I think there's 0 educational value. Again, the ethical way how to make that video would basically be how to learn programming, okay? This is how I think the ethical way is. I see absolutely no educational value in a video like that. Next response. How to use aircrack to hack Wi-Fi. Nobody said unethical. Most people said ethical, a lot of people neutral, and then depends on the delivery, how educational it is, and depends on how it's framed. Here is something I also mentioned in the main video. I personally think hacking Wi-Fi tutorials are complete dog shit. I think they are boring as hell. I think they are let me clarify, I think they're absolute dog shit if you just explain how to use certain tools. Okay, I think this is explained this in many videos of myself before, where I explain like what I think hacking is or how to learn hacking. You are just using tools. You are just using step-by-step tutorials. I think that's boring, and the problem is it just enables stupid kiddies to do stupid shit with their neighbor's Wi-Fi. Again, that just motivates and might make people do bad stuff. However, I'm also kind of neutral with this thing. I think just some step-by-step tutorials is not a video I would make because I think it's boring, but I also wouldn't necessarily say it's super unethical. Hacking Wi-Fi is kind of meh anyway in terms of capabilities and how it's kind of used. Also nowadays with SSL and HTTPS, I don't see a big threat or so much craziness about it. Yeah, I wouldn't really care too much about it. I stand more neutral. And yeah, maybe it's even ethical. I don't know. Aircrack is a basic tool that is typically used. So yeah, it's a video, I would say whatever, but I would also be careful with the framing, because again, if you make this how to hack your neighbor's Wi-Fi or so, I think that's bullshit. Again, how would I make an actual educational Wi-Fi hacking video? I think this is, again, you know, kind of as a contrast, this here, explaining how the crack Wi-Fi attack worked. That's the only Wi-Fi video I made. It's not a particularly good video or anything, but for me, if I would want to make a Wi-Fi tutorial that I think is educational and is valuable, I would want to explain the underlying concepts of Wi-Fi. I'm telling you, all these kids that are using aircrack to crack Wi-Fi don't understand anything about the Wi-Fi protocol. Nothing. They don't understand anything what they're using. They just know if they use that flag, if they use that option, then this happens, and if they do that, then this happens, right? They don't understand what they're actually doing, and so that's why I don't really see value in this. However, I do see a lot of value in explaining the research behind it, explain the underlying concept behind it, and you don't even need to show a tool, because it doesn't matter what kind of options a tool has. What is important, at least to me, and what I think is an ethical video, is just showing the research. So these are also, again, like a little bit the contrast videos here. How to create a persistent bind shell on Linux. That is something I'm also completely ethical, also not neutral. I also don't think it depends really on its frame, because persistent bind shell on Linux, it's just like a small tool. It doesn't give you anything. That in itself doesn't do anything. It's you know, if you are at the point where you can execute a bind shell, then you already have arbitrary code execution. You have won already. The harm is basically already done. So this is just like a little bit of professional work. You see, the lines are very blurry. How is this different from how to make a Trojan, right? Like a persistent bind shell is basically just a Trojan. But there's, for me at least, there's very careful nuances and differences here in terms of context and how it's framed, right? I think how to create a persistent bind shell on Linux is so deep into our industry already. It's so deep down. If somebody is searching for that, they already have a pretty good understanding on how security works. You know, the term persistent bind shell, who would search for this? It's somebody who already has a bit of knowledge and understands what they are doing. Whereas how to make a Trojan or how to make malware might draw in people that have no damn clue and then misuse it. I feel like there's small nuances, and I think the people that have answered here also feel an extreme difference. If you compare the responses from this one here to the how to program a rat or how to use the Quasar thing, you can see a big difference. How to program a rat was even, you know, more ethical, was still a bit more ethical, but more neutral, but still not at the level of a bind shell. I also think so. I also think a lot of people kind of have the same feeling, that there's somewhat of a difference. And then also here, just a question on, I mean, this was clearly framed to be extremely unethical, just to make a very extreme case, how not to pay for Steam games by abusing some kind of bug that you found with Steam or so, or how you used stolen credit cards or something like that. That is, of course, absolutely unethical, absolutely not educational. There's absolutely zero value in that. Yeah, not much to say about this. Here, I just wanted to make a little bit of a difference about like responsible disclosure. If you found a bug in YouTube that allows you to access private videos, if it's unpatched and you make that video, is that unethical or neutral? Or and then, you know, the versions, if it's like patched or unpatched. And you can see people, the responses definitely change. When it's already patched and you just talk about what you were able to do, then it's ethical. And if it's unpatched, it's mostly unethical, with a few people neutral. This obviously goes very similar to the discussion about responsible disclosure versus full disclosure. And you might be surprising to hear that I would also say this is a absolutely 100% unethical video, but I'm generally more standing on the full disclosure side. So how does full disclosure fit with I don't want a video about an unpatched private videos of users? And this is again going into what I explained, mentioned shortly in the beginning. I think their context matters a lot and responsibility matters a lot. It's different to share something on YouTube that can reach who the heck knows what. The audience is extremely wide and a lot of kids might be watching it, a lot of impressionable people, a lot of people that are not really in that industry and don't understand what it means to have security vulnerabilities. They don't have an intuition for that kind of stuff. So if they see a video like this, then that just can cause direct harm. In contrast, if there's a full disclosure happening inside of our community, inside of the InfoSec community, somebody drops something on a mailing list after having failed to responsibly disclose it, or the risk is not that high, or whatever the reasons are. I'm generally, like I said, I'm generally more okay with something like that. If they drop it on Twitter or whatever, the audience is different. The audience is already technical. The audience already has the kind of understanding. I think there's a big difference in what kind of audience you share that kind of content to, and how to be responsible with whom you share this. I'm not saying that you are hiding or censoring information in that case. I'm just saying that you are responsible. Somebody who is really interested and keeps researching and learning, they will eventually come into our community and will come to conferences and will hear about this. This is not hidden information in any way. Okay, this is not censored. It's just making sure that not people that have absolutely no damn clue do it. I think, it's maybe a bit of an extreme example, but think about explosives. If you make the video so boring that only people that are really interested in chemicals or explosives or professionals understand it, it's fine. But if you make the video in a way that makes it able for a 12-year-old to build a bomb, that might be dangerous for the life of that 12-year-old, but also maybe they think it's a prank and they don't, you get the point. There's responsibility to whom you kind of say that to. And because YouTube is such a massive platform with a wide audience, it's very different to present a video on there versus giving a talk at a conference that is in our circles. So I do think that there is a differentiation to be made. Yeah, so that was that. I'm really curious what you're saying. I think this is an ongoing discussion. I'm sure my opinions will also change over time. These are my opinions in July 2019. So please don't think that this is kind of my strong opinion. These things will evolve with future changes, with future development, with future experiences that I gain. So this is just your opinion slice of life right now, okay? And about the current state. This can very well be changing, just to make that clear. Okay, thanks.